Welcome to another daily devotion. It is September 12th. We look today at chapters 40 through 42. Chapter 40 through the end of the book is the last major section of Ezekiel, where you get the final vision of the temple and the divine presence restored. And so Ezekiel in chapter 40 begins by taking us on a tour of the new temple. So Ezekiel's book begins with a vision of the presence of the Lord, chapters 1 through 3. It continued with a vision of the departure of God's presence in chapters 8 through 11. And now it ends with a vision of God's return to a transformed temple and a transformed people. Another way of putting it is that at the beginning of the book, one learns that God is not in the temple, but on the move. Then Ezekiel is taken on a tour of the temple to find out the reasons for God's absence. And now the prophet is taken on another temple tour, this time one which reveals the Lord's return. Thus, the promises of divine return and restoration offered throughout the book are now realized. With this vision, the drama of presence and absence is complete. The vision forms a fitting conclusion to the story that began in the first chapter with Ezekiel's overwhelming encounter with God by the Chebar Canal. Many interpreters understand the legislation in these final chapters to be casting itself as a second giving of the divine law, with Ezekiel in the role of Moses. Thus, the vision forms a fitting sequel to the new creation of people and the land promised in chapters 36 and 37. This pattern of new creation, followed by new law, further supports the idea that Ezekiel believes the life of Israel must begin all over again, which has been a theme that we have seen. Only a new humanity on a regenerated land is only on that is God's presence possible. The vision here is dated to 573 BC, about 14 years after the fall of Judah and about 2 years before the end of Ezekiel's prophetic vocation. The nature of the material in chapters 40 through 48 has certainly generated much discussion. A lot of people are divided on how to read this particular section of Ezekiel. The attention here to detail is certainly in keeping with Ezekiel's priestly background, wanting to give us details about this new temple, this newly restored temple. Many interpreters believe that the temple described in the vision is not meant to be a blueprint for the actual temple that was rebuilt in Israel around 520 BC. Rather, the vision functions more as a verbal kind of image or icon, a symbolic, verbal symbol, we could call it, I suppose, that orders and categorizes the world much in the same way that Genesis 1 through 11 symbolically orders the world and allows the viewer to see the transcendent above and beyond. Like that earlier creation account, Ezekiel's vision conjures a new world ordered by hierarchy and work roles, geographic boundaries, and divisions between people and places, which make for a coherent map of reality. The world is marked by harmony between God and humanity, a harmony established by the reordering of sacred time and space and sustained by meticulous attention to the new laws of the temple. The vision offers Ezekiel's audience a symbolic picture of the future that is hopeful because it is centered on God's life-giving presence. As throughout the book, God's presence or God's glory is not construed as passive or static, Rather, the presence of God is always active, demonstrating God's desire to be in relationship to God's people, whether expressed in acts of judgment or acts of deliverance. In the final vision, the temple is first restored, making possible the return of God's glory to the new sanctuary. In the next section, Ezekiel receives the instructions, that is the Torah of the temple, for how people will live in such a way that their sin does not once again drive God away from the sanctuary. The return of life-giving presence, the divine life-giving presence described here literally gives life to the land and restores the relationship between people and land to a healthy interdependence ungirded by their mutual dependence on God's presence. The final part of the vision describes with, again, priestly concern for details characteristic of the whole vision, the boundaries of this new fertile land. The last line encapsulates one of the book's major themes, the presence of God, by concluding with a new name for the city. This is 4835. The Lord is there. That's the name of the city. So this first section here, 40 through the first part of 43, recounts the prophet's tour of this new temple as he is guided by someone equipped with a linen cord and a measuring reed, the presence of which testifies to the significance of order and precision in the new creation. The details of the arrangement of this space in the new temple are designed to create a buffer between the sacred and the profane. A core goal of this new space is to protect the holiness of God from the contaminating potential any human activity may bring. God departed the temple in chapter 10 because it had become too defiled to host the presence of a holy God any longer. Ezekiel 43:8 explains that part of the problem was the architecture itself of the first temple, which is really interesting when you consider that there were so many details given for construction of the temple. But what we get here, and I quote, "In their setting of their threshold by 3 thresholds, and their posts by my posts, and the walls between me and them, they have even defiled my holy name." So the walls were just too thin to maintain appropriate boundaries between holy and that which is defiled, that which defiles. The new temple architecture addresses that danger. It has multiple layers that protect the holiest inner sanctum like layers of an onion, beginning with an outer wall that is about 10 feet high and amazingly equally as wide. Ezekiel witnesses the divine return to the temple in 43:1-11, and he is careful to connect it to his 2 other encounters with the divine glory. While several promises of God's future presence appear in the book, here that promise is at last realized. I will reside among the people of Israel forever. 43 verse 7 and verse 9. Yet we may wonder how Ezekiel imagines this harmonious relationship between God and the people to be sustained given the unmitigated disaster of Israel's history. However, God created the people anew, gave them a new heart and a new spirit, and infused them with God's own spirit, 37:4. This will make it possible for the people to obey the law and live in covenantal faithfulness with the Lord. There are not a lot of people in this last vision, which suggests that Ezekiel is not too sure how it will all work out on the ground. Prophets are not always sure about how their pronouncements will look in detail. It seems that Ezekiel is concerned about the capacity of human beings to destroy this paradise envisioned, and steps must be taken to avoid this from ever happening again. Throughout the final vision, for example, the behavior and even the movement of human beings are severely restricted. Chapter 43, for example, prescribes precisely how the people are to enter and exit the temple never exiting in the same place that they entered. These groups chosen to lead the restored Israel are those who were among the least guilty in the past, the Zadokites, while those deemed especially at fault are demoted, the Levites of all people. The people themselves play no significant role in the new temple because their sins were so egregious in the past. The dearth of people is thus meaningful in and of itself. Ezekiel is deeply concerned not to let human actions result in a repeat of Israel's disastrous history. One way to prevent problems is to hit the theme Ezekiel has harped on time and time again: knowledge both of God and of self. For Ezekiel, knowledge of God and self is the necessary prerequisite to right action. In the final vision, as elsewhere in the book, the people cannot faithfully be the people of God until they know themselves and know their God. The task of both priest and prophet is to convey knowledge to the people, because it is knowledge that will shape their moral understanding of the new reality and their place in it. The new humanity does not obviate the need for sacrificial systems. Ezekiel retains the cultic system much as the priests had conceived it, which is in some tension with his claims elsewhere that the new heart and the new spirit infused by God will make the people obey divine commandments. As elsewhere, shame plays a vital and positive role in forming the new moral identity of the people of God. It is a means of liberating self-knowledge. The order of events is important. When they are ashamed of all that they have done, make known to them the plan of the temple, 43 verse 11. For Ezekiel, the self-knowledge facilitated by an experience of shame, the internal realization and acceptance of the people's responsibility for the past is a prerequisite for receiving the knowledge of the divine plan for a harmonious future relationship with God. Without true understanding of the past, a different future is not possible. Okay, let's pray. Gracious God, thank you again for another time that we can be in your word as your Spirit uses it to speak to us. May we reflect and meditate upon what we have heard from Ezekiel this day, and may we take it to heart and put it into practice in our lives. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, have a good day.